So a day in my life, I wrote down 10 things that I actually use this far in sort of describing how I work. The first thing, when I get up in the morning, I look at Yammer. I scan Yammer to understand kind of any new events, especially large capital events or issues that we're facing in Yardi or MRI or JD Edwards. We have active groups and all of that. Sometimes I make connections there or give somebody a prod. And then I also check our teams and the projects that I'm involved with. We've got remote workforce in Asia, in Europe, in India, and in Australia. So many times I wake up and there's new work, there's new deliverables, there's new something for me to look at. Second thing is project status, really understanding the active projects that I have a significant role in, where we are, what's happening, and I get that from the deeper review of teams and understanding the past 8 to 24 hours of threaded conversations, looking at documents, making suggestions, asking questions. The third thing is what I call stirring the pot. And many around RF would understand what that means. Sometimes I can be pretty challenging and ask challenging questions, but I think that's part of my job is I see things, and if something's not quite right or I don't understand the context, it's part of being a leader by example. So I do quite a bit of stirring the pot throughout the day. I see something, I react to it, I ask a question, I make a suggestion, but I usually ask open-ended questions that causes more debate. The fourth thing that I do, sort of using this, is provide guidance and adjustment, just in time. So I just had a situation on an internal project where there was a question put out to the group. There were a couple of answers that I was not probably on board with, and I made an adjustment to the direction that was headed, and I do that quite a bit as well. So that's providing just-in-time guidance and adjustment. And had I not, had teams, I would have never known that was going on. And frankly, it would have never filtered up to me. So it also keeps people on their toes. The fifth thing is managing firm. So we have a bunch of just internal stuff that we have to deal with, especially right now. We had to, in a period of 30 hours, mobilize the entire Indian support center from working in one place to working at their homes. And we use this infrastructure to do it, and we're now stabilizing that. So there's a lot of just managing the firm work, looking at documents, reviewing documents. It's a combination of teams and documents in SharePoint and sort of working on documents. Number 6 is executing work. So actually producing deliverables, producing work product. And this is something that I'm now realizing that we do just as habit. I will click on a document that somebody had sent me or a link. I don't know where the thing lives. I don't particularly care. When I get out of it, it's saved and the versioning is all handled. The next thing is being able to find things. So we got all this knowledge in conversations, threaded conversations, inside of teams, chat, documents, all in a place, but now I need to find them. I don't really remember where this was or that was or who said what in this conversation, but I know keywords. So I use Delve, Bing, and the search capability in Teams and OneDrive to actually find fragments of conversations, find something that's attached to a person, or find a concept or documents about a client, and that will bring me the right information. In the future, with Cortex, Microsoft's going to do more of that to deliver me things that I should be interested in, and we're exploring that with Microsoft now. Next thing that is a very important part of my job and my responsibility is connecting dots. So I see things across the firm, across our lines of business, across sectors, and across project teams. I'll see a conversation over here and a team need over here, or there's a question about some specific thing, piece of functionality or problem with a certain technology. And I know, just because I've been here a long time, the right person to make that connection with. And I do a fair amount of that, throughout my day. So that's connecting dots. And most of that is Yammer, sort of video calls, and Teams. Something kind of related to that is mining revenue or new revenue opportunities. So after a while, you're sensing patterns, or you see a conversation about, here's a good example. We were having to, because of the shelter-in-place order in Dallas, had to move out the check printing equipment, which checks are a bane to my existence, but we had to move that equipment out. There's sort of an archaic thing with the postage equipment from Pitney Bowes. We have to tell them where the equipment goes. We had check printers and Micker cartridges and all kinds of stuff. Because of that, now we have an opportunity, because everyone has to work from home, that we shouldn't be printing any checks. So now we've started a campaign to go through all of our clients and figure out who's printing checks, and we're going to help them, now that they have to work from home for a while, not print checks in the future. So that's going to increase their productivity, and it will drive new revenue opportunities for us. So being able to see those, make the connections, and then start those wheels in motion is a big part of what I do. And the final thing is to basically create a safe place from a communication standpoint, to build this deeply into our culture and to measure this across the firm. So we have 4 tools that we use to do that. Swoop, which is a measurement tool for the digital workplace. tyGraph, which is a third-party measurement tool. The tools that Microsoft has. And then we have worked in performance measures into the performance evaluation process. We've had that in place for about 5 years. And this is part of the evaluation of everyone's performance, about how well they actually work over distance to get their jobs done. I think the final thing that I would say is, and I don't have fact-based data yet to prove this, but my feel is about 60 to possibly 70% of my collaboration on the modern digital workplace is right here from this thing, my phone. So even I have 3 monitors here, and when I'm on a Teams call or looking at a document, I'm actually doing a lot of Yammer and Teams chat and messaging and discussion from my mobile device. We use those on the plane, we use them at the coffee shop, we can be connected anywhere. And that's another thing that I think companies are coming to grips with right now, is you can do almost everything here that you can do on the big screen. The other day I was editing a document in Word inside of a team, and I was showing it to a client, and they were like, "What? how on earth can you do that? And it's like, well, I've got glasses and I needed to do this. I needed to get some just-in-time adjustment on this letter. All I had to do was click, and I was in the document, and I was making an edit, and it was all saved, and the communication round trip back to the author of that document was instantaneous. And then to sort of connect this back to staying informed, before I go to bed in the evening, I do the same thing. I scan Yammer and I scan Teams, and sometimes I stir the pot a little bit. Sometimes I provide guidance and adjustment, and then I go to bed. Now that's sort of a day in the life, in my life, of the digital workplace here at RealFoundations.